Hello everyone, welcome back to another Project Gladiator weather forecast. Today I'm going to be covering the weather for May 1st of 2023. We still have that rotating low pressure system situated over the northern eastern United States that is rotating uh, it, and ejecting some strong winds across a strong long wave trough with associated with some very strong winds across the much of the eastern United States and in the area affected by the low pressure system, and still just pouring down rain across much of the northern United States. Um, but then we also have another low pressure system uh, that is creeping its way down across the Pacific coast with a trough associated with it, which is what's going to be causing the marginal threat for southeastern Oregon and northwestern Nevada. But with a low pressure system here and the high pressure system ridge situated in the Midwest here, um, and the jet stream looks something like this, or more like it looks more like this here. So what is happening here is something called an omega block that is makes the jet stream look like an omega symbol, and because the high pressure system in the center of the United States, it really causes a decrease in the severe weather potential for much of the Midwest. So it, it's likely that the severe weather potential for much of the Midwest is going to be much smaller than the past few days that we have been seeing. So no back-to-back slight risks anymore. Um, let's go to the northeastern United States so we can or northwestern United States so we can see so we can get a better look at what's happening here. If we go to the upper level winds, you can see that trough here that is ejecting lower level winds across much of the area that's affected by that marginal threat, but they seem to be relatively weak upper level winds. And if we look at the lower level winds too, you can still see that there are some strong lower level winds, not strong but relatively weak, but still there. Lower level winds over to the east that move slightly westward to affect that area uh, by late by late Monday and into Tuesday. Um, if we go to the instability, though, you will notice that if I can find the instability, um, you will notice that there is some pockets here of some instability in the deep basins that could potentially allow for storm development. But you can see that over the area here that's affected, there is hardly any uh, strong amounts of unstable air. Uh, it really decreasing the potential for the storms that develop over the marginal threat area to be very severe. They're likely to be only just isolated or rain showers, and it it's not likely that any hail is associated with the system either due to the lack of instability and I think the potential for strong updrafts to develop and aloft those rain particles and cause hail to develop. Um, it's there's a lack of instability, but if we take a look at lapse rates here, if we look at lapse rates, you can see pretty strong lapse rates over the area, especially by what looks like early Tuesday here. A very strong lapse rates in that area uh, that are promoting the rainstorm development. So what's really like allowing for the storm development is just the overall strong lapse rates and surface heating for the western United States in the strong lapse rates. If you take a look at the sounding here, the skew T graph, you can see very steep angle here, very steep, associated with the very strong lapse rates, but overall very weak wind shear, and what looks like barely any instability, not allow, which is going to cause the potential for severe weather to be likely zero. It's most likely only going to be rain showers that are fueled by the surface heating and surface heating or lapse rates, uh, and strong low level and upper level winds and low pressure trough that's across just a little bit southeast of the system here. Um, and if we go to the composite reflectivity, I can show you when storms are likely to develop. You can see storms developing in much of that area by the late evening of today, and continuing northeastward and dying down by or moving out of the area by early Tuesday, but still persisting rain showers for California and southern Oregon, and then the potential for rain showers from the instability and possibility for rain showers to develop across the Midwest. And I'll likely cover that tomorrow, as and those all move northeastward and out of the area. But uh, I'm gonna cover. Actually, no. I'm gonna cover the severe weather potential, the possibility for severe weather potential uh, the um, across the southern United States, the southern Midwest again. Here in a second, if I can get down there. Uh, let's take a look at the humidity. You can see that. Let's switch to dew points instead. You can see that there is the return of strong humidity for the southern Midwest, from the Gulf of Mexico, by to is the return of humidity is starting by today and continuing tomorrow, and overall gradually increasing the rest of the week. And so humidity is in place for storm development. But now let's look at but there's no strong dry line. It's just situated humidity just placed there. No strong dry line to trigger storm development. But let's look at instability. Let's look at the return of instability for the Midwest here. You can see that from the Gulf of Mexico, instability does start making its way by Tuesday into the Midwest again. Uh, and if we look at low level winds, however, there are not very strong low level winds associated with the return of humidity and instability. Very small pockets of strong low level winds, most likely just associated with storm development, not because of a trough that's moving through the area just from storm development. Uh, but if we look at the upper level winds, you can see that there are, again, relatively weak upper level winds and isolated upper level winds that are likely just associated with storm development and not triggering the storm development, if you get what I'm saying. Um, that's not associated with a trough. If we do look at shear, however, um, if we look at the wind shear, we can see that there is not there's some decently good wind shear for the United States, but it's very isolated and not very put together. It's very unorganized and very isolated. So that's likely also going to decrease the potential for severe weather. Uh, but if we look at Um, if we look at what is it? What am I trying to go to? If we look at lapse rates, we can see that strong lapse rates from the heat of Mexico, the surface heating in the deserts of Mexico, making their way north um, to it uh, kind of help pull along the potential for severe weather development through Texas. Um, but the lack of the very put together and organized wind shear and low level winds is likely going to cause there not to be a strong tornado potential, if a tornado potential at all, associated with storms that could develop tomorrow and possibly Wednesday too through Texas. Sorry if you hear any background noise, but you can see by Wednesday or late Tuesday, it looks like late Tuesday, um, and maybe potentially through southern New Mexico, maybe small showers, and then by late Tuesday and early Wednesday, all those storms begin to develop. Again, they're isolated, and they could have because of the strong instability returning to the Midwest. There could be the potential for some hail associated with these systems, but I will likely cover the severe weather potential in the hail potential and uh, tornado potential, which is likely to be small associated with these storms in the next few days, and help you get a better idea of the severe weather potential when these days come. So now that I've told you the weather, please go down in the description, check out the socials for Project Gladiator, and hopefully I will see you guys with another forecast tomorrow.